and welcome to Soulful. All right. Hello again. Welcome back. Welcome to the fourth and final part of the Cornerstone Sessions. My name is Drew. I'm the guy doing the sharing. And this is Soulful, a podcast experience. It feels good to have arrived here at the fourth and final episode of The Wave. I feel like I did a pretty good job getting y'all a download on the Cornerstones as a whole and individually. I'm sure there's stuff I missed or left out, but yeah, it's tough because I've been immersed in this framework for years now and writing the book and sharing about the Cornerstones in a couple different settings. So I'm sure there's stuff I missed, but I feel good about this version, this rendition. So if you are interested, if you are so inclined, I would invite you to check out the previous episodes if you haven't already. Yeah, I give you a little origin story and then talk about each cornerstone individually. And that has brought us to this moment in time where I'm going to share with you a little bit about the synergistic magic of the whole system and how the cornerstones complement and enhance each other. Yeah, really nice, really beautifully. And maybe some other stuff too. I don't know. We'll see. We'll go with the flow. So yeah. The cornerstones as a whole. It's a pretty cool system. I mean, I'm biased, but yeah. And when I first recognized the cornerstones, really I saw the whole thing. And then I had to do a little bit of work to reverse engineer to the individual cornerstones, right? Because my life, 18 years of recovery and healing and over a decade of working with folks, like, yeah, I had never been aware prior to my time in Teotihuacan of like the core areas. I just was living the results of investing in these areas. And so it's actually been pretty cool to see the foundational areas of practice, right? The four cornerstones in my life. And then in recognizing them, I've been able to kind of double down on my investments, kind of bring it back to the basics, if you will. So yeah, so it's been super beneficial, this journey for me personally. And it's also given me, the ability to articulate a very accessible system for folks who are interested in investing in themselves. So, yeah, feel really grateful for how this has worked out, how the cornerstones have presented themselves. Yeah, and really the coolest thing of all for me is witnessing the magic that comes from investing in all four cornerstones as a whole system. Right? Because, as I said before in one of the episodes, like all four of these areas are known to be beneficial. And most folks that I work with and walk with have invested at least a little bit in some, if not all of the areas. So if you have a meditation practice and you journal sometimes and you also do some self-care, that's three cornerstones right there, right? But the real magic of this system, of this structure, is investing in all four areas, in all four cornerstones, intentionally, for a period of time. Because the investments really take each other to a whole new level. Right? Like the investment in self-care makes it easier to then honor what we discover in our relationship inventories or our community cultivation practice. Our investments in mindfulness and meditation make our stalking much richer, right? Like the data that we get is much, more detailed. And then what we're stalking, what we're noticing, right? Like that is then going to inform how we show up in relationships or where we invest ourselves in relationships, right? So there's this energy that's working amongst and between the cornerstones the whole time. And now that I've had some time and some practice working with folks in the system, like I can start to hear and feel when folks are lacking in a particular cornerstone, right? Because some of these areas are going to be easier for some of us, and some of them are going to be more challenging. Like some folks are going to find creating community a bit more challenging than a meditation practice, whereas other folks are going to really struggle with following through on self-care, but they're going to be awesome at stalking. And that's part of been part of the trip, is like learning with people as they discover themselves and recognize, what they naturally are good at, what's naturally more challenging, and how they approach, that. But ultimately, what I hammer home with folks is you got to invest in all four. The results and the return on investment you're going to see from investing in the cornerstones is going to be limited by the cornerstone you least invest in, because they inform and shape and enhance each other. So like if you're doing a lot of meditation and you're stalking and you're taking care of yourself, but you're not investing in community, that's got a certain feel, like that's got a certain weeble wobble to it. It's the, like the table that's missing the fourth leg, if you will. Or if you're all about community and you're doing the self-care and you're sort of stalking, but you're not doing any meditation, you're not slowing down your experience at all, again, you're going to start to miss a certain depth of your experience, right, as far as paying attention to what's going on. And that's going to impair your ability to stalk or make different changes, or how much you're really getting intuitively in certain situations. So, this is definitely a whole system. And the real magic is available when investments are being made regularly in all four cornerstones. Cool. So hopefully that is helpful or clear. Because if you want to just go do a meditation practice and then get a massage once a week, like that's cool. That's better than not doing that. But that's not the cornerstones, right? That's not this approach. Because in this approach, we're looking for all four areas to be invested in regularly. Now, that doesn't mean that actually happens, though. And that's not terrible either. For me, I've come to understand that each area is a practice. And so if you are investing awesomely in an area, cool, you're going to see certain results, certain benefits. But if you're having a lot of challenges or a lot of difficulties, that's also cool, because that's a lot of rich feedback, right? So like if you're having challenges or difficulties in investing in a self-care practice, that's okay. Let's pay attention to it. Let's stalk it. Let's check it out, right? Like let's use the whole system to then approach wherever the snag or the hiccup is. And then you'll start to understand more of why it might be hard for you to choose yourself, or what thought process is, or what behaviors are involved in your reaction to a situation. So I guess, really the key is to take on the intention to invest in all four areas, and to show up regularly and invest in as many different ways as often as possible in all four areas. With the understanding that, sometimes we'll fall short, or sometimes we'll go a little heavy in one cornerstone, a little lighter in another. And that's cool. That's all part of the journey. And then if at some point one cornerstone is really lagging behind the others, then we can bring a little bit more of a emphasized attention to that cornerstone. But I also love that the cornerstones are super neurodivergent friendly. So if you got some ADHD flavored energy in your system, and you don't like focusing on one thing for too long, the cornerstones are money, because there's 4 things. So you can just bang around. Like if you're tired of meditation this week, then just go do a lot of self-care. Or if you're over the stalking thing, then go hang out in community for a while with people that fill you up. And then when your energy shifts or your attention shifts, then you can start to invest in different areas. So there's a lot of wiggle room in how we invest. There's also a lot of creativity in how we invest. Like one person's meditative and mindfulness investments are going to look totally different than somebody else's. And that's beautiful. And that's cool. And ultimately, as long as you're bringing a certain energy and you're investing regularly, both people are going to see positive results that then enhance and complement the other cornerstones. It's just a really cool system, man. And I can't even say that like I intentionally designed it to be like this. It's more like, like I shared in the original episode, like I recognize the system. And the more that I consciously work with it, the more it reveals. And the more it teaches. And the more that I learn about myself and the system and how it shows up in people's lives. And it's so cool. There's really no capstone for these cornerstones. All right, like on a pyramid, the capstone is that top thing. But with these cornerstones, yeah, I mean, it feels like the sky isn't even the limit. Like this thing can just get infinitely and exponentially cooler as we continue to invest in these practices, which turn us onto ourselves in more aware, more compassionate ways, and then allow us to live our life in a way that feels really good. Like the same way a spiral sinks into bottomless despair and pain, it also can rise into some really beautiful space. And the cornerstones are definitely a vehicle for taking this human trip on a pretty cool ride. All right. Yeah, it feels good. Let's see. Check the outline. Ooh, yeah, okay. This is good. So, a cool way to recognize that the cornerstones are working in your life, right? So, like, if you start investing in these areas, all 4 of them, they'll start complementing and enhancing each other. And then what I see over and over again is the synchronicities and the magic that starts to show up, right? Like when we prioritize ourselves, when we invest ourselves in ourselves, is a really cool quality of experience that becomes available. And and the universe starts winking at us and high-fiving us in really cool ways. And so I just love to see the confirmation and the validation from life, from the universe, when somebody's investing in the cornerstones. And then, there's like that high five from the divine or a wink from the sacred. Like the right person shows up at the right time, or, you get kicked out of a job that you thought you really wanted, but then that opens you up to take a job that you actually love. Like the mysteries of the universe are unfathomable and everywhere and all the time. And we rarely make ourselves available to everything that's here. But it seems like when we decide to invest in ourselves and increase our capacities in the way the cornerstones help make possible, the mysteries and the magic of life start to be more pronounced. And so it's always so cool. Like a couple weeks into working with somebody, I'll get a message or a call or one session, and they show up and they're like, "Oh my God, you'll never believe it. Like this happened and then that happened and then I saw this thing." And I totally believe it at this point. Like I'm rarely surprised with how cool life can get when we choose to be ourselves and prioritize ourselves and share ourselves with the world and with life. Yeah, not surprised. But it also never gets old, man. It's so cool. All right, I think that was the last thing on my agenda here. Ooh, okay, yeah, one more nugget for you, then we'll be done. So the Cornerstones as a system, right, as a structure, you don't need anybody like telling you what to do, right? Like you don't need a coach or a counselor or a guru or a guide or a mentor or sponsor, right? Like there doesn't need to be anybody that you're reporting to. You can just invest in the Cornerstones and watch cool stuff happen. Eventually, with the community cultivation Cornerstone, you will develop a community that you kind of engage with or, have to support you, which is cool. But you don't necessarily need like a point person. That being said, some folks will benefit from having somebody that can help provide some support and some accountability and some guidance, right? So I would encourage you to reflect on it and trust your own intelligence, your own awareness when it comes to whether or not you'd like to do the Cornerstones with a guide or a mentor or a sponsor, right? With somebody there to help you with it. Or you just roll solo with it. So, yeah. All right. Anything else? No, that was it. All right, cool. So, yeah. So we're done then. So the Cornerstones are cool. Invest in all four if you want the real magic. I'm not going to sell you a story about it because you'll discover it for yourself through your own experience, which is way cooler and way more impactful. If you want some kind of guide or sponsor or mentor, that could be a cool resource as part of the journey, but it's also totally not necessary. You can just invest in these areas on your own and witness the magic. And and then the book will be out next week. Just go ahead and grab yourself a copy. The official release date is Tuesday, July 9th. You can get it online via Amazon. Probably have it in a day or two after clicking the buttons. Yeah, like I've said, it's not theory heavy. There's no Kool-Aid to drink. It's just 90 pages-ish of what the Cornerstones are, how to invest in them, some common challenge navigation tips, and and a couple stories from me about each of the Cornerstones. But yeah, the book is much more like a field guide. That's the way I saw it as I was putting it together. I wasn't trying to write a piece of literature. I was trying to write a guide that folks could use to then invest in their lives, right? Like the real field of play for the Cornerstones is your life. And so read the book and then go do stuff and then find out for yourself. That's the gist of it. So cool. Yeah, the book's coming out. All right. I'm done. My brain feels empty. And as always, if you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out. If you're really digging this wavelength and are interested in potentially collaborating, also feel free to reach out. I'm available for that. And be gentle with yourself. Be kind with yourself and all the other knuckleheads. We're doing the best we can, So a little bit of compassion, a little bit of awareness goes a long way. Yeah. Alrighty. I will see y'all a little further down the road. Love y'all.